Hi, folks. Larry Rolla here. Freddie won't be with us tonight. I think he has something to do with the jug, so he'll be here. He'll be here probably tomorrow. So I was gonna come on alone and just fool around with all you with the social club tonight. But then all my friends found out that I was going to do this alone, and they were afraid I would screw it all up. So they says, "No, we don't want you to be out there by yourself." So they're coming on. So the first one to come on is Joe Guarino. So there's Joe. Hiya, Joe.
Hi, Larry.
Thanks for coming up.
No problem.
I just sent Eddie a link and Anthony. I'm not sure if Anthony's going to be on, but
I don't think Anthony could make it tonight.
Okay. Here's Eddie.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, who are you? Here we go again.
I'm in a t-shirt. I'm half dead.
That's all right. You're good, Eddie.
What's up there, you two?
You look like Tom Mix.
Yeah, I look like
You know who was the only good cowboy that wore a white hat, or the only good cowboy that wore a black hat? Usually the good ones
Johnny
wear
Cash.
white. No. In the days of Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and Cisco,
Oh,
one of them wore a black hat, and he was a good guy.
the guy was Charles Bronson in Paladin, or
Wild Bill
whoever that
Hickok.
guy was.
Oh, it was before that. It was
John Wayne.
I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, what I did,
you wore the hat. You wore the cowboy hat.
what I
Back
did,
in the day.
my first
Dallas
colors,
cowboy hat.
my first colors were purple and gold, and I got them when I got them when I was up in Buffalo in '59 or '60, and there was a driver called I forgot his name. Jeez, I just had it. And his colors were purple and gold. And you know who made my first colors? Bob Shuttleworth's mother.
Wow.
What happened? We froze?
Yeah, Bob Shuttleworth's mother. She lived in Buffalo. She made my first set of colors in 1960.
Hey, Larry, you froze me. What happened?
Claude Pelletier was the guy whose colors I copied. Are you frozen, Eddie? You're all right here.
Holy shit.
We see you, Eddie. We hear you.
We see you and hear you. You know what, Eddie? Let me call him up and tell him to get off and come back on again.
No, I'm all right now. You got it?
You're all right. Yeah, all right.
We heard you all along. We heard your remarks.
What I did was let me get the social club in here. Hello, social club. Tonight I was because Billy Hudson couldn't make it tonight, so I was going to come on. Freddie Hudson couldn't come on, and I was going to just chat with all of you guys in the social club. But my friends here found out that I was going to be all alone, and they were afraid that I would screw up. So they're like my keepers. So they said to send them a link, and I sent them a link, so they're on. But what I did do, I put up. We're going to get to the chat here in a while. We'll go through that. But I put up some pictures that I was going to talk about, assuming I was going to be all alone. And the first picture I want to put up is of my mother just before she died. And I went to see her, and I brought her this card, and it says, "I want to thank you for not just for the big things, but for the 32,147 million little things," and that's the truth. And so when I showed her the card, she got a kick out of it. So that's the last picture I had with her. She died. She was 95. She died in 2010, July 14th, 2010. She was 95 years old. And if it wasn't for me,
Good life.
my brother and my sister, she probably would have lived to be 120. But I took about 25 years off of life with all my nonsense. And then I brought these pictures up here just to show what horses could do. This guy here, that guy, and I put this up before, so maybe some of you saw it. This guy here was James Gandolfini from The Sopranos. It was his father. And he called me up one day and he says, Larry, he says, my father hasn't, I take my father all over. He says, but for the last 2 months, he stopped eating, he don't talk, and now he's really bad, and he won't even respond. He hasn't eaten in a week. He's losing weight like crazy. And I had him to doctors and everything, and just no response. I says, now he's wheelchair bound now, and the only thing left is he loves horses. Would you mind if I brought him to the track? And I says, of course, bring him to the track tomorrow at the Meadowlands. I was at the Meadowlands. And I says, bring him right around noontime. This way the track will be closed. There'll be nobody, everybody will be done work. So he came, they brought him a big Porsche Cayenne with all the gimmicks on it. And it had the whole back opened up and the electric door opened. And the thing came down with the wheelchair, and there he sat. I should have taken a picture of him when he first got there. And I might have it someplace, but I don't have it on this computer here. So they told me that he don't speak, he don't do nothing. He had his chin in his chest, and he was very, very frail. So I went over to him and I says, hello, Mr. Gandolfini. My name is Larry Rolla. Nice to meet you. And no response. He just sat there with his chin in his chest. So at that time, Eddie Palmieri was working for me, and we had another groom that was still there at that time. So I told the groom, I says, go get that horse. I had one horse in there he was my friend's wife's horse. He couldn't race at the Meadowlands. In fact, he was a maiden. I think he was a 4-year-old maiden, but he was a pretty horse, and my friend's wife was in love with him. And every weekend I used to ship him up to Monticello because that's where they lived. And I would race him, and I get Billy Parker, who was the leading driver up there. I hated to do it to him, but I knew him a long time, and I trusted him. And I says, look, he's not much of a horse. Just don't abuse him. Just take him around the track. And sure enough, every week he finished last. But she came to the barn when I shipped him up there and bought him carrots and everything, and she loved it. So anyway, the groom brings the horse out, and I put the horse's head right in his lap. He's in the wheelchair, just like you see him in that picture. He's in the wheelchair, and I put the horse's head right in his lap, right, his nose right between his legs. And he still has his chin in his chest. And before you know it, he starts to raise his hand. And within maybe 10 seconds, he pets the horse, and then he raises his head. And then within a minute, he's nice horse. And I said, he says, what's his name? And I says, his name is Osmosis. And I says, listen, I says, we're going to train him today. I says, and would you like to help me? And he says, yeah. So that's when we put the helmet on him. And Eddie, in fact, that's Eddie right there. That's Eddie Palmieri. And we put a helmet on him, and we put him on the jog cart there. And I was holding the horse, and Eddie stayed with him, and I put the lines in his hands, and I says, you want a whip? And I think we gave him a whip. I'm not sure, but I don't see the whip there, so maybe we didn't give him a whip. But and all we did was walk up and down the shed row there from one end to the other end, and I walked with him, and then coming back, I just jogged off a little with him, but it was a little scary because he was so frail and must have weighed 80 pounds. So anyway, after Eddie yells to me, he's starting to get tired, So I says, okay. I says, that's it. I says, boy, what a good job you did. And now he's yeah. What a nice horse. I like this horse. So he's talking. So I says, I said, yeah. I says he's a nice horse. I says, I think he likes you. He performed well for you. And then he says, when is he going to race? And I couldn't tell him when he was going to race because the horse finishes last every week. So the groom, who didn't realize what I was doing, he says, no, he's in to go Friday, I think he said. And he had the sheet with him. So I says, no, he's not. He says, yeah. And he takes the sheet out. He says, so I says, oh, yeah. He's in to go Friday. He says, oh, good. I told Jimmy to take me. Jimmy's his son, James Gandolfini, the guy that's in The Sopranos. So I says, no, I says, he's in far away. He's in Monticello. That's 100 miles from here. I says, no. I says, but I'll tell you how he did. So he says, no, Jimmy, take me right here. I watched it on simulcast. He knew everything about simulcast, everything. So I says, oh my God. So when the day come that he was in the go, I drove up to Monticello. And I says to Jimmy, I says to Billy Parker, and he's the leading guy up there. I says, Billy, and I told him the story. I says, you ever watch The Sopranos? And he says, I watch it all the time. It's my favorite show. I says, well, if this horse wins today, I says, he stopped me right there. He says, well, what are you, fucking nuts? He's a win. He says, I barely keep up every week. So I says, well, let me just tell you the story. So I told him the whole story. And I says, and if this horse wins, you get a signed autographed picture in color for James Gandolfini. You'll get a handwritten note, and he's going to give you the whole Soprano library. And so he says, oh, my God. I says, look, do whatever you have to do. Good luck, and I'll see you. He starts laughing. So I go out to the track photographer. And I say to the track photographer, I says, listen, if this horse is in contention from the head of the stretch home, just keep hitting that camera. Just keep clicking and clicking and clicking. So he does. So the windup was he wins. He wins the race. And I went into the photographer's office, and they do all this on the computer. So he took the picture, and he blew the picture up like that, and I made him put it on the computer in the picture. That's the picture of him coming down the stretch. I put special thanks to James Gandolfini Sr. Without his help, this win wouldn't be possible. And this was in 2005, and he put all the time and everything. And what the hell is the time? Let me see if I can get this bigger. The time was 2:01 and 4, and it was
not bad. Good looking horse.
It was in 2005. His time was 2:01 and 4. Trainer Larry Rolla, driver William Parker, and owner Lynn Verse. So that was. Now, how the hell do I get this thing off of here? I think this one. Yeah. So I sent him. I went and got that picture framed. I put it in a real good frame. I had a vacuum sealed frame, and I had bought $100 win ticket for him, and I put the $100 win ticket in the frame, and I sent it to him. And right after that, I went to Florida. So naturally, it wasn't right after that. About I don't know, maybe 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I went to Florida. But every day, Gandolfini, his father, had me in the trailer with him. They were shooting The Sopranos in the Bada Bing Club in that Satin Dolls on 17. And I used to go in there every day, and I stay with him, and we talk, and we took a bunch of pictures together. And he said, anytime I could do anything for you. And he was going to bring him the following year. He says, I want to bring my son, but he's only 7 years old. He says, Is it all right if I bring them next time we come, which might be, it all depends on the shooting schedule. I says, bring them anytime you want. I says, but I'm going to Florida for 3-4 months. So he says, oh, all right. So I wound up staying in Florida for 6 months. And when I came back, there was word for me that the father had just died. But I went to see Jimmy, and they said that he was happy. He started eating again and everything. He just died of old age. He was in his 90s, I think, when he died. But he gained all his weight back. And he couldn't wait to come back there. So, and then I think in the Bada Bing Club, according to Jimmy now, Gandolfini, he had a picture of a thoroughbred. I never watched The Sopranos, but I think in The Sopranos he owned a thoroughbred. And they had a picture of the thoroughbred in his office in the Bada Bing Club. And they told me that they took that picture down and put this picture up. And at his wake, at his funeral, they had all the pictures because they had a bunch of photographers there. They were taking 1 million pictures, and they put all them pictures around the casket. And naturally, I wasn't there. And what happened was I met with, this was just maybe 6 months ago. I tried to get in touch with the son. But that the guy who wrote The Sopranos, he was protecting him like he was a superstar, and I couldn't. He wouldn't put me near him. He wouldn't let me talk to him. But I met the girl that was in The Sopranos, the one that played the psychiatrist. Really,
Lorraine Bracco.
Yeah. I met with her, and I said, listen, I'd like to buy that picture back. The picture that I don't think nobody has any use for it. I'd like to buy it back if the kid's willing to sell it. And she says, well, when the show ended, we auctioned everything off, and that picture was auctioned off. So somebody got it. But
and $100 win ticket.
And $100. Well, I'm sure they might have cashed the win ticket. I'm sure.
Oh, I thought you framed it right in there.
No. I put it in the frame.
Oh, okay.
No, I put it in the frame.
What did the horse pay?
Yeah.
I don't even know. He
wasn't a favorite, I'll tell you that.
No, I have to tell you something. Well, he's retired now, Billy Parker. He's retired. He retired, but when he says to me, he says, Larry, he says, so how's he going to win? And I says, listen,
Do what you have to do.
You've been choreographing races for a long time. Just do your job. I started kidding around. So I says, do whatever you have to do, And he won. He won.
He paid $380.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what he paid, but I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't care. I was just so happy that he won.
Right. Sure.
And you could see it was this. I think he's a 4-year-old. He's a maiden. It was his
he got
first
some gait, man. He got some extension. Whoa.
Yeah, but all he wanted to do was be petted and eat carrots.
That's what I said. He's a good-looking horse.
That's all he wanted to do. And I told Billy, I says, look, just take him around the track every week. He's not a racehorse. He's a pet. Don't abuse him. And he never did.
Yeah.
And, but he raced good that day. I got him as ready as I possibly could. I never used to train him. I just used to jog him. For that race, when after that day happened, he was in, I think, a couple of days later. I think the day before the race, I jogged him about 3 miles, and I turned him 1.15 miles, I think. And that was good. Then he come back to the barn, and I pumped him up with a couple of jugs, and I gave him some, all the typical bullshit, 30 cc's of Keiko copper and all, whatever you can give him. I don't even know what the hell I did, but whatever he was able to get, he got. He was basically sound, and that was it. And he win, and everybody was happy. And I'm just sorry that I was in Florida at the time, but
he did a nice thing.
It just goes to show you that I see these pictures in hospitals on Facebook where people bring their dogs and their horses in, and it really affects these people. It really, and this horse would be a perfect horse for that, because all he wants to do is he just puts his head down and wants you to pet him. That's I'll stay there for hours.
The animals could sense the sadness and the depression of a human being. That's why they nuzzle and they I mean, a lot of these animals that they send to these therapeutic centers is amazing. How a lot of these patients perk right up with it. It's amazing. It's great.
Yeah,
it did a good thing, Larry. It was beautiful. Good.
Yeah, very good.
Like I said in the book, I'm trying to get to heaven. I got to look in the book and see if I really said that. They said it was in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there. I'm trying to get that. The book someplace.
Don't worry, we're gonna take care of that.
Okay. Let's go down this list here and see what we have here. Well. Look who's back. Sundance. Hey, where you been, Sundance? Where have you been? Everybody miss you. Everybody says, "Where's Son?" I know the last time you came to my house, you had your knee. You couldn't even walk. You had a bad knee brace. I hope you're okay. Later on in the chat, let us know how you're doing. I'm going to go down the list. And before I get to the next one, I have to go to this, because I'm going to do this. You see that thing there where it says hit the light? Okay.
Ring the bell.
Yeah, because the next guy down is let's see, it's Jesse. Give Larry a like. There, see?
Yeah.
On the way in, please give Larry a like. So give me a like, because that has something to do with the albatross or whatever you call that thing.
Algorithm.
The algorithm.
Albatross,
yeah. You went from algorithm to aneurysm to albatross.
All right, Francis. There's Francis. Hi, champ. Sundance Joe in chat. What about Eddie? Oh, there it is. Hiya, Eddie. She missed you.
Hey, what's up?
Not the same without you, champ.
Hey, Francis.
Okay, let's see. Jesse Black, you would be fine on your own. I don't know. You know what's happening to me now? And I know what it is. I feel like a zombie, because I start taking the ivermectin only not because there's a problem, but because I'm taking another blood test at one of them sophisticated things on the end of October. And it's just an experiment. I don't have to be doing this, but I'm doing it just to see if I can get the blood thing down to 0, because it's like 0.01 or something like that. So I just want to see if the ivermectin will completely make it go away. And so that's why I'm taking it. But I'll tell you, I'm not even sure if I could make it, because I'm like a zombie. I'm tired. I'm completely physically exhausted, and that's the reaction from that. And I know that it's that because it got so bad 2 weeks ago that I stopped taking them, and after the second day, I was fine. I was like a 20-year-old.
Yeah, but you took everything all together on an empty stomach. You can't do that.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so we'll see. Okay, Eric, comment. First nail in the coffin of the state of harness racing. 2026 last year for Hambo at the Meadowlands, as Guarino put in a bid. Well, I think you know who would know all about that, Freddie, because he's right on top of all that.
Yeah, I mentioned that last night, but
yeah, I think Rico kind of explained it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. All right, Howard Lieberman wasn't coming on, but Joe and Eddie, ABD Larry. What's that mean? Wasn't coming on, but Joe and Eddie, and Larry. Okay, well, thanks. Thanks for showing up.
Hey, Howard.
Okay.
Howard got a good report, a pretty good report from his test, Larry.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Good for you, Howard. That's good.
Yep.
Okay, Gary D said Roy Rogers. So Roy Rogers was the one cowboy that always wore a black hat when all the other good cowboys wore white hats. I guess that's what he says. I don't remember, but I know one of them did. Regal colors. That's purple and gold. Claude Pelletier had them colors when I was up there in the 59 to 60. And I said, if I'm going to get colors, because they look sparkling from there. And you're right. Purple is a regal color. Then when I got barred, when I got barred in '84, they stripped me of everything.
Didn't Gary Messenger have those colors too?
Yeah, they were one or two other guys. I think one other guy that had them colors.
Yeah, Gary Messenger.
My brother wore them, right? Peter wore them, didn't he?
Well, after they stripped me of everything in '84, they took everything. He took all my trunks. I had like 40, 50 trunks, all the harness bags. They took everything. I couldn't come on. I was gone. So he took everything over, and he had bought a farm down in Delaware, and he took everything to Delaware.
Yeah. How's he doing, Peter?
Peter's not doing well. I just got a call. I just talked to my sister just before I came on here. He's not doing well. He's not doing well. He's in the hospital.
Send my regards, please.
He wound up getting a bunch of strokes. He weighs about 400 pounds, and he's gotten a bunch of strokes, and now they say he can't speak, he can't move, and he's in the hospital. So my sister keeps me informed. His wife Elaine, she goes to see him every day, and she's doing exercises while he's in bed trying to get him. But the guy's what the hell is he? He's 81, 82 years old, and he's very heavy, very big, and he's been that way for a while.
His wife, is that the same lady down at Pompano he was with?
Yeah. She worked for me.
Wow.
She worked.
Long, huh? Wow.
Yeah, she worked for me for like 40 years. She was an excellent groom. She was good. And when my brother wind up having a major problem in the Brooklyn months. He had a gas station in Brooklyn. He had a major problem, big problem, and with a wise guy, and it was the biggest problem you could possibly have. So I sent him up to Monticello, and I said, "Stay here with me." And I moved my mother up there. Moved all the kids up there. My brother had 5 kids with his first wife, and so I moved them all up to Monticello, and I had to straighten out the problem, and I did, and he wound up while he was up there. I put him with Elaine, who was my best groom at the time, and I says, "This is my brother. Teach him everything that he has to know," and that was it, and that was the story of my brother. But then when I got barred in '84. He took over everything, and he left. He bought a farm in Delaware, and he raced in Delaware for a while. Then he was getting heavier and heavier. His whole life, he always had they call it a sluggish thyroid. I think it was just bullshit. But I lived with him when I raced in Delaware, when I had a stake race down there. So I stayed there a couple of weeks with him. And he didn't eat a lot. He didn't eat. He ate very, very little, but he just kept gaining weight. And before you know it, when he was with me in the pictures with me, he was always bigger than me.
Yeah, he was a big guy, but not heavy. He was really
he was a big guy. Yeah. In fact, he was the only guy that ever knocked me out. My brother. When he come home from the Navy, and married this girl that had 3 kids, and she wasn't a very nice looking girl. So he comes in the house and he brings her over. And I says, Peter, why? I mean, you just got out of the Navy. Why'd you jump on? She has 3 kids and this and that. Plus, she's fucking ugly.
Oh,
And he popped me a shot, and it was my father that picked me up. Yeah. And, he wound up divorced.
This Frances girl, she
Yeah.
looks like my second wife. I look at her, I can't believe how exactly like my second wife. I'm looking at this picture. I think it's her.
Oh, maybe it is her.
I don't think so. Her name was
Francis, Francis, why don't you send us a picture? Send me or Joe. You must have my phone number. Oh, you're with Sundance all the time. Send Sundance a big picture of you, and Sundance will get it to me, and I'll get it to Joe, and we'll see if you're really his second wife.
If not, you could be his third.
So anyway, what happened with my brother after that, he wound up getting a divorce. He fell in love with Elaine, the girl I put him with, to teach him, and he fell in love with her. And it was a marriage that shouldn't have happened, but it happened, and they ran away. They got married, and he stayed away for about a year. Nobody knew what happened with him. I moved my mother up to Monticello because he left 5 kids behind, and one was just born. And but his first wife was with the kids, but I don't want to say too much about her because the kids are still alive, and they contact me, and I shouldn't have said what I said. She wasn't that ugly. She was okay.
Oh, stop! But, all right, go ahead, go on.
Well, I said she was ugly. I shouldn't have said that. But because the kids just called me and they said, my father's in the hospital. I said, I know. So anyway, they stayed away for about a year. And the problem that I had was I thought that the problem I straightened out for him didn't work. I knew it worked. I knew everybody involved, and I knew it was done. It was a done deal. But all of a sudden, he disappeared. And his wife says he hasn't been home in 2 days because he never showed up for work, and the wife says he hasn't been home, and then a week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and I went to see a friend of mine who I had straightened out the problem, and they says no, the problem is it's not here. And the windup was about a year later, he called me up and he says, could you give me $5,000?
A year later?
A year later, yeah.
No contact.
No contact. My mother, I brought the kids. I brought the kids over to my mother's house to take care of because the other girl had to work. So my mother was taking care. She raised the kids, and in fact, the baby.
That had to devastate your mother. What is he thinking?
Well, the baby that they had was always crying, and it was driving my mother crazy. And I used to take my mother to all the doctors with this little baby. And finally, one day, they could never figure. In the beginning, they thought it was gas or this or that, because the baby was like a little baby. And finally, one day, a thing as big as a baseball popped out of his forehead, and it was a brain tumor. And they cut it out. They cut the whole top of the head off, and they took the brain tumor out. And he had a big scar right across the whole head from ear to ear. And now he survived naturally. He wasn't cancerous. Now the scar grew in the middle of his head. You don't even see it. He turned out to be a really good-looking kid, and a nice kid. And he just called me up, and he says that he started a business about a year ago up in the Monticello area as an exterminator. He gets rid of bees and rats and all them crazy animals out of the woods there. And he says that everybody, all his customers know me, and they all say hello. So he contacts me. But my mother raised all them kids until my brother got back. And then when my brother got back with Elaine, I gave him the money. They bought a trailer, bought him a trailer and a car. And they come back to work for me. And my mother stayed with the kids. My mother wouldn't give the kids up. She just wouldn't give the kids up. And so my mother basically raised the kids. It was okay with my brother and Elaine because they basically in Sundance and your brother could probably, he's not here, Dominic, Anthony's brother could tell you that they were always at the barn. They ran everything for me because I was 2 days in California, 2 days in Florida, 2 days here, for about 10 years. And then I was all over the place. And they basically ran everything for me. So that's it. But he's in the hospital now. He's not doing well. But he always had a sluggish thyroid. But he worked very hard when he was with me, and he was always big. But now it's like 350 pounds, 400 pounds, a bunch of mini strokes where now he can't speak. He can, so I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, I always liked him. He was a nice guy, and I he was really mellow. He wasn't really.
He was a good kid. He's like Joe. It's like Joe. He was like Joe. He just. I don't know how Joe was, but I know Joe would probably knock you out with one punch. But my brother was the opposite of me. But I didn't fight. I stopped fighting when I was like 15 years old. I didn't like to fight. And it was only a matter of time before I got my head beat in. I never lost a fight because I had very few fights, but I never lost one. And it was amazing because I wouldn't hit. I wouldn't hit first. I wouldn't hit the guy first no matter what happened. I wouldn't hit him first. My brother always hit first. My brother, in fact, I have a picture. My brother was, before he come to work for me, he was hanging out with Dickie Moria, Burt Young. They were running guns from Canada down here. I have a picture of him. I think I put it up. I have it. And he was about 230 pounds. But between him and Dickie, boy, they take on an army. Dickie was a bad guy. That's Burt Young, the actor.
Yeah, I know.
He's a bad guy.
I know his story.
My brother was pretty bad too. Okay, I got to ask Sundance if. Okay, let's go down. Howard Liebman, Hopalong Cassidy wore a white hat. Okay, yeah, Hopalong Cassidy wore a white hat. One of them, Hopalong Cassidy, Tex Ritter, Roy Rogers, one of them wore a black hat.
Gene Autry.
Gene Autry wore the black hat? I don't know. One of them did. Hopalong Cassidy. Wow. Io Silva. Gary D. Tommy Mix wore black hat also. Tom Mix. Tom Mix. That's right. Tom Mix. Okay, maybe it was Tom Mix that wore the black hat. Tom Mix. That's right. Forgot all about it. Okay, PM says, Larry, were you talking about Have Gun Will Travel with Richard Boone? He always wore a black hat. No, this was before that.
I remember that.
I said that.
Yeah, but this was before that. This was in the early days of Tex Ritter and Roy Rogers and Gene Autry. Okay, Eric, for Joe, love to hear your comments on Kimmel firing and murdering of Charlie Kirk. That was terrible.
Joe, love to hear your comments on Kimmel firing, murder of Charlie Kirk.
Didn't they take him off the air?
They took him off the air. I never liked the guy. I never watched him. They were always the first one to knock the Republican side, to knock Trump. And when something like this happens, this thing with Charlie Kirk, I mean, it was horrible. I mean, and anybody to say anything at that point for these kids who lost their father, for his young wife, for all the good he did. I don't understand. These people can't have souls. They got to be.
You see that picture
demonic.
When he was on Fox in the morning, they showed his little baby girl running to him.
Yeah.
Oh,
how could these people be so cruel? I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I cried when I watched his wife and He was a really good guy. And he would sit there and talk to you and try to reason with you. He never asked for any violence or negativity. He was always reasonable and gave you logical answers and was very fair. He didn't knock nobody. He shook that they could abuse him, and at the end of the conversation, he'd shake their hand and say, "Thank you. I appreciate your thoughts." And he was just a good guy. It was a terrible shame. Really sad.
Jesse Black says Paladin. But that was after. That was later on, Paladin. Okay, here's Eric. Question for all of you. I should have asked Heather Vitale this question. You think we will ever have a full-time female announcer at a major racetrack? Now, I know there's one at Parks, but it's a B track. I don't know. I don't see why. I don't know. That's a good question. And you're right. You should have asked Heather, because I have no clue, but I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, why not? That's a good question for Heather.
Yeah. Now we got to remember to ask Heather when she comes back on.
Email Heather, Eric.
She sent me a really nice thank you card.
She was a good guest.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. PM, Eddie, when you were training horses at Roosevelt, what was the most horses you ever had? Did you ever have any good ones? And do you miss the standardbreds?
As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation today with one of my owners today, basically comparing the training and caring of a trotter and a thoroughbreds. And I said, training a standardbred is training a racehorse. Training a thoroughbred, you're not training. It's like you always say, blinkers on, blinkers off. And everything is touchy-feely and visual. And you got to ask people, the guys that gallop the horses, how is he? And if you have basically one of the jockeys, a freelance guy that as soon as the horse comes in, he jumps off. He don't even tell you. He goes because he's hustling to ride other horses. I do miss the standardbred. I would have never got out of the standardbred if I didn't get sickly and I didn't have the strength. Because even sometimes it's very hard for me to saddle a horse. You know how that girth is, that you got to really pull it up and try to hook it to the coupling on the top of a saddle. That sometimes I lose feeling because my bones hurt so bad that I let go and I don't want to snap the thing and hit the damn valet in the face, So, but with the trotters, I would have never got out if I couldn't hold the horse anymore, and I really like the trotters. I do. I still watch them. I still.
Everybody, a lot of people ask me why I keep making fun of the thoroughbred trainers, and it's when you spend as much time as I did, I'm talking about every day for maybe 55 years, every single day with horses in the barn area.
Mm-hmm.
For that time, I had at a farm had thoroughbreds also. Even when I was racing in Delaware, I had horses at Monmouth Park with Alan, and I used to go back and forth. And here's why it's not that I make fun at them. It's just that all you ever see, and I just use this just as an example. You see this. That's all you see. You see, this is what the trainer tells the jockey, and not just for some conversation.
1 and 1.
Yeah, jog 2, gallop 2, 2. That's all. That's it. And that's it. And the trainers come here. They either sit in their golf cart in Florida, or they go, or sit on a pony, or whatever, and they just go out, and then they come back. And how was he? So the whole thing is basic, just conditioning, and that's it. And once a horse is fit, you don't got to be a fucking genius to keep him at that level. I mean, I know Hassan now closed the door on on helping you guys and even helping the horse. That what they're doing is really a detriment to the racehorses. Opposite, they're doing opposite everything that they were hired to do, because you know why? Because they don't even know how to get started. They just don't. But anyway, in standardbreds, it's different. You're always you're racing every 7 days. You might make a shoot because of the amount of equipment that they wear, and a lot. There's just a whole lot going on, and even as far as conditioning and training. And when you race every 7 days, you have 50 horses. You have to recognize that probably 10% of them horses have a tough time racing every 7 days, and you adjust the schedule. You adjust everything. And the same thing.
You're so much more hands-on with the standardbreds. You could actually figure out a horse, take time with him, and accomplish something.
Right.
I mean, there's a million changes you can make. There's a million things you could do with a standardbred yourself instead of somebody else's opinion. You could use your own opinion and your own judgment instead of going to some guy and say, "How was he?" And you got to take his word for it.
Yeah.
You know, when you can feel a horse through the lines.
Yep.
You know, it's a
That's
different
what I was
ballgame.
explaining today to the owner. I said, when you sit behind a standardbred, you feel and you could see their gait. You could see they're locked on the left line. If they're hogging down, if they're, everything about it, you could, say he's running out. So, he's running away from something on the left side. So you go right to either the knee, the ankle, whatever, the suspensory. But then you have, if you can't find it, you have a block party. You block this.
Right. Spend the day blocking a horse.
They don't know block from a street. It's ironic, because when a vet scratches you, they said, "Oh, it's the left front." Where? Well, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, how am I going to fix it? And you're a vet. Oh, come on, take a hike. It's absurd. But the answer to the second question, when I did train at Roosevelt, I didn't have an overabundance of horses like Joe did. You start small and then you try to accumulate. And I had, I think, 4 or 5. I had Most Happy Cash. I had Little Bank. I had a horse called Affirmed, which was funny. And my owner was Augie Abatello. Wow. And Augie was with me for a while. And then I went and got some owners and blah, blah, blah. And you move on and you go forward. And
Augie had that Mexican restaurant, right?
Yeah, in Huntington, yes. And he had a gas station, and he has a car wash up the street from me.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a farm, a beautiful farm up.
I know, I've been there.
Yeah. 4th of July, he throws about 300 people come there. It's gorgeous. It's fun. It's you meet a lot of. Jimmy Marone was up there this year with his wife, and everybody was up there, So,
yeah.
But I miss the trotters. I like it, but I love horses. I put it that way,
Yeah, but the standardbreds are so much more challenging and more.
It is.
It's a more personal business.
Yeah,
you can really figure a horse out. Where the thoroughbreds, it's just like boring because it's the same thing. Every freaking horse is the same thing.
I just don't. I like I said, I enjoy it, but like I get up in the morning, I go there and the exercise rider, and we go, all right, go 1 and 1. All right, do a 2-minute clip, blah, blah, blah. And then, I got a steady exercise rider, which is good because he works with me, not against me. He ain't worried about the $30 he's getting each mount. I pay him a salary, so he stays with me. But at least he has a little common sense and he's been around a while.
What are you showing us?
So he has the experience.
Yeah.
That's her.
Oh, wow.
You can't, that's her and the daughter. But I don't know how to get it on the podcast. I do, but I don't want to screw this up because I'll wind up losing. But next week we're going to blast a picture right on the right on the screen.
Who's
She's
that?
her and her daughter, Angelique, whatever her name is.
Francis.
Francis. Oh, okay.
That's Francis.
She's a beautiful girl.
Beautiful.
That's the second wife, maybe, he said.
Her and her daughter.
Wow.
Wow. Really beautiful.
I believe so.
I'm going to get that picture up next time.
Very pretty.
All right, next comment.
Okay, next comment. Here we go. Francis.
There she is.
Sure, Eric. However, your young ladies at Saratoga do very well. Alex. Hi, gentlemen. Eddie, how's... Oh, that's your horse. Mia Sophia. I saw was scratched on opening day. That's the one, the quick job? The nail in the foot?
Yeah. She's fine. I'm gonna probably race her probably in about 10 days.
Horses are sensitive.
Yep.
Especially the fillies.
And a 2-year-old.
Eric, last night someone posted a comment about Walter Case and that he is doing better. Eddie spoke to him. So what about him, Eddie?
No, he put a big post on Facebook and he thanked everybody and he appreciated all the prayers that everybody said, and he's doing fine. He's on the mend, so.
You got his number, Eddie?
Well, he's on Facebook, and you go on the Messenger, and he has his phone there.
I don't go on Facebook. I had too many gangster issues when Facebook came out.
I'm gonna make a new one. It's gonna call Ass Book.
Yeah.
Everybody shows their ass and see who they can recognize them.
Sundance, how's your knee, Sundance? Well, Francis, it wasn't good the day she was over my house. All right, Howard Liebman. Thanks, boys. Yeah, he got a good route. That's good.
Stay well there, Howard.
Howard's a nice man.
Francis, let me know if you need paintings, champ. What's that mean? Let me know if you need paintings, champ. Champs.
Champ.
Paintings. She must be a painter. Let me know if you need painting. What does that mean, Francis? Are you an artist or a painter? I don't know. We don't know what that means. Put it in another down in the column list there. Okay, Pal Michael. Jacques Dupuis. Purple colors. You are right.
Purple and white, though. Purple and white.
Yeah, he did. He had purple.
Jacques Dupuis. Yeah.
Purple and white.
Yep. Insco too had purple.
Yep.
Del Insco had purple.
Purple and yellow.
Yep.
Larry
had the best purple and gold, man. Larry, his colors were, when you pulled into Monticello on that first barn, that barn used to jump out into the street, man. It was so picturesque. It was nice.
And Sundance will tell you, I had every trunk lined up perfect. Every harness bag hung exactly the same height. And if one wasn't, I would turn the whole row over, all the trunks. She's on the chat here now. She'll tell you.
Yeah, he said that once before.
Yeah,
2 inches from the wall or 6 inches.
7 inches. Everyone had a 7-inch 2x4 in their trunk, and it had to be perfect. I had to go down the end and just bend down and look. And if I saw one trunk that wasn't exactly in line, I turned them all over.
You only did it more than once to me.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't tolerate that.
And Eddie, Angelique. There's Angelique, another beautiful girl.
Hello, Angelique. ¿Cómo está?
There's something about girls that have glasses on. Years ago when I was a kid, everybody made fun of girls with glasses, 4 eyes and this and that. Today,
it's sexy.
They're sexy. I think I know a lot of girls that I want to tell them, you look better with glasses. Why are you taking the glasses off? You look better with them on. Leave them on. It just does something. I don't know what it does, but they just look good with glasses.
I used to like the ladies with the hair up and the glasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they took that bun out and the hair went down and they took that glasses off, you were in trouble.
It sure was. Good trouble. That's good trouble.
Yep.
Okay. Angelique says, hello, Jesse. Let's see. Hello, Sundance. Oh, here goes. Here goes the social club again. Hello, Howard. Hi, Angelique. Really, Joe? Francis.
Really? Absolutely.
You have me on Messenger. I do? I don't know. I don't know the difference between message and messenger. I don't know. Which one is Facebook? Or
Messenger.
Messenger?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, when you pull up Facebook in the right-hand corner, you'll see it'll say N, really. And you hit that and it goes into Messenger.
Uh-oh, Joe, here she goes.
Wow.
Francis says, Joe, I adore you, Joe. Mighty fine gentleman. Wow.
Well, thank you. Where do you live?
Where do you live in Florida? Where do you live, Francis? I think I know where, Francis. I forgot. Where do you live, Francis? Let us know.
Give him my number, Larry.
Yeah. Well, I have to. Do I? Is she the one that said I'm with her on Messenger? All right. I got to look for her. If she's a Francis, message something to me on Messenger or however you do it. And Joe wants to talk to you.
I meant everything I said.
And he meant everything he said. PM, Larry, without saying too much, can a trainer or driver notice the difference with this piece of equipment on your right? Wait. Can a trainer or driver notice the difference with this piece of equipment of yours on right away, or does it take time? If the answer is yes, I hope you may. Oh, he's talking about what I.
Your invention.
Yeah. Let's see. Can the trainer notice the difference? Right. Well, it's what it basically does is it just stops the horse's temperature.
Don't talk too much, Larry.
All right. Well,
until you get everything locked down, just
okay.
What is that? Does eat?
I have to finish. I have to finish the whole patent thing.
Exactly. Ron told you, get it patent.
Yeah. I had a long conversation with Ron today.
Went good today, Larry.
He's a hell of a guy.
I tell you what, I have to thank him for all the things he said to me, and was very very nice. He's a good man.
His wife is an absolute doll.
Yeah,
she's such a nice lady.
Yeah.
We went to dinner at the Hard Rock here in Hollywood, and I met his wife, and I tell you, they are both beautiful people, really beautiful people. You know, real. They're real.
Yeah.
Well, I owe him a dinner, so I just hate for him to drive. One of these days, I'll call him up and we'll make it for a restaurant up by him. This way, he don't have to drive.
Where does he live, in Westbury?
I'm not sure. I'm not. I forgot. I knew, but I forgot. But I don't want him to drive down here. I'd like to take him and his wife out to dinner one night.
Well, if you come out to the island, I'd like to meet you.
Well, I forgot where he lives. I think he might live out toward the island. I'm not sure, but that we could do that. If we do that, I'll let you know.
All right, good.
Okay, let's see. Larry, beauty is skin deep. Beauty fades, and the heart is what matters. Well, you're 1,000% right, but I've been around long enough to know that that men look at beauty.
Beauty is a good start.
That's the first thing they look at.
When you have both, you hit a home run.
Yeah, and the ones
and it's hard to get both.
Right.
Yeah.
The ones that last are the ones that have everything. And And then that's it. But beauty is only skin deep. But it sure is nice.
Yes.
Okay, Steve. Good evening, guys. Hi, Steve.
Up, Dave?
Hi, Steve.
That's your friend, yeah. Sundance. Hello, Francis. Sundance. Were you with me when my brother Peter and Elaine were with me? I think he was. Sundance. There they go. The social club. The social club network. We should start a dating site on here. Okay, Larry met who? Larry, men who chase beauty wind up in two conditions: alone and sad. Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you have a point. But there's a lot of beautiful women that have a good heart and good insight and a conscience and a good people. So there are people that have, and I was fortunate in my lifetime, even though I was never married, to have be with people that had both. That I went, and I'm not bragging. It's everybody that knows me. Look, there's thousands of people listen to these podcasts. 90% of them are horse people. Not one ever come and said you're full of shit about any story that I told. Now, sometimes I fill in the gaps. I might say the wrong date or something like that. We're talking about 50 years ago. But I'll make this statement now. I was fortunate enough, for whatever reason, to go out with some of the most beautiful women in the world, both inside and out, because I wouldn't tolerate a witch or a bitch. I just wouldn't. But what attracts me right off the bat, if I don't know or if I'm not introduced from afar, is the beauty. And then if you're lucky enough to meet him somehow, a guy always tries to wiggle his way there. But I was always lucky. I met. And they can tell you the prettiest girls out there with the nicest, and all of them were terrific, including the ones that I know today.
It's very difficult at like my age. It's all about a lot of gold diggers out there, a lot of phonies. It's a different world out there. You know, it's.
I got no shot no more. I'm done.
No, you're happy. You're happy. You're married. You're set. Larry's set. I'm divorced twice, and not for any bad reasons. Just the way things went.
Sundance says Francis went to PT today. What's PT?
Physical therapy.
Oh. Okay. Richard Boone. Yeah, that's another one, Richard. That was before. That was after. Tom Mix. Yeah, that in that era. Tom Mix had a horse called Tony. Okay. Want to know what color hat he wore? Steve and Angela and Sundance. Steve, hello. Get rid of these hello. Answer, I looked it up, Larry. Hopalong Cassidy wore a black hat. Okay, it was Hopalong Cassidy. Hopalong Cassidy was the good guy that wore the bad hat. All the other cowboys back then, Gene Autry, Tom Mix, and Roy Rogers, they all wore white hats. Hopalong Cassidy wore a black hat.
Getting back to the racetrack, you remember Dr. Peter Cassidy at Roosevelt?
Yeah, the German Shepherd.
Yeah, the German Shepherd. He was he was a good guy. He died very young. His wife Marla worked for the state. She was a state vet, and he was a great vet, and he was a nice guy. And he got sick young, and he passed away. But what a nice guy. When I first started in the business, he did all my vet work.
PM says, Larry, how did you meet Mr. Kadish? Did you come to the farm right away, or did you have horses at the track for him? How many horses did he give you? And let me tell you the story real quick about Larry Kadish. Larry Kadish, there was a girl that I was living with in Monticello in I don't know when it was, I don't even know, in the 70s, sometime it was. Yeah, it was in the 70s. And she was in the grandstand one day with Ronnie Fawcett's wife. Ronnie Fawcett live with me with his wife. He needed a job, and I gave him a job. He worked for me, and I moved him in, and then I eventually bought them a trailer right across the street in the place. I gave him a job. So, in fact, when she was living with me, Ronnie Fawcett's wife, they had a baby, and the baby is Dennis Fawcett, the kid that's on Facebook now. He's a professional gambler, and he calls me uncle. He calls me all the time. He's writing a book about his life. But I basically potty trained that kid. So anyway, what happened was they were at the track one day, and Ronnie Fawcett was working for me, and they were in the paddock. We were in the paddock, and Joyce, his wife, and the girl I was living with at the time, Aura, they were in the grandstand at Monticello. And a post parade come out, and the number one horse was a horse called Chocolate Candy. So two guys were sitting behind Aura and Ronnie Fawcett's wife. And the guy behind said, "Oh, I should buy that horse for my wife. It's her birthday and she loves chocolate candy. I don't know what else. She got everything. I don't know what else to buy." So his friend says, "Well, why don't you buy?" He says, "I don't know how to buy it." So Ronnie Fawcett's wife, Joyce, she turns around and says, "My husband could buy it for you. He's a trainer." So he says, "All right, please give him my number. Here's my number. I'm staying at Kutcher's Hotel. Give him the number and tell him to get in touch with me." So the next morning, he comes to me, and I knew all about it because Aura told me. And the next morning, they come home, and I think they were already moved to the other trailer. I bought him a trailer across the street. And so he comes to the bar, and he says, I have to. I says, "I know all about it. Go ahead. Go meet him. You get your shot. Maybe you can get lucky." So he comes back with a blank check. And I says, what are you going to do with it? He says, "He just gave me a check." He says, "Spend whatever you want to spend on buy horses." So I says, well, go do it. He says, "Can you get me stalls?" I says, "Yeah, I know Susky. I'll get you stalls." So I says, "Oh, just go about. Don't worry about work. I'll pay you until you're on a payroll with him. Just go about, look for horses, do whatever you have to do." Next thing I know, 2 days later, his wife comes across the street to my trailer, and she says, "Ronnie went to New Zealand." And I said, "What?" Anyway, make a long story short, he calls me up from New Zealand, and he says, "I need 10 stalls." So 10 stalls, Monticello was filled up. The only stalls that were available were the tin barns all the way up on the hill.
Yeah.
So I thought he was going to start off with 2 or 3. I could have got him really nice stalls, but you needed 10. So he gets 10 stalls. Anyway, he comes in with these horses. Now he's back in town. He got the 10 horses. And I'm in barn A. You know where I was, Eddie. As soon as you come in the gate, I'm in the first barn, and the training track is right there.
Yeah.
So every morning I see him out on the track with these big New Zealand clunkers. He can't get them they look terrible. So finally, after about a week, he comes down to me, to my barn, and he says, "Larry," he says, can you come and help me? I'm having a bit of a problem." So I go up to his barn, and who's sitting there but Larry Kadish? But I never met him. It was just a guy sitting at the end of the barn. And I asked him, I says, "Who's that guy?" He's dressed all in black, sitting at the end of the barn, never said a word. And Ronnie never introduced. He just says, "And that's my owner." I says, all right. So I never said nothing. So the first thing I says is, I says, "Ronnie, did you?" And now don't forget, this is in the 80s. This is when everybody was going to New Zealand because of Cardigan Bay, and Eddie Carr went over there. But these things that he bought, the cheaper horses from New Zealand, had heads as big as
lugheads.
Like they look like 5-gallon drums.
Yeah.
And I says, "Did you buy the equipment with these horses?" He says, "No." I says, he says, "In fact, I'm having a problem because over there they all wore leather hobbles, and here I have the leather hobbles all the way out, and they're all burning like crazy." And I says, "You got these hobbles are out to 58 inches. He says, "Well, they don't go no more." I says, "Well, you can't just leave them like that. They probably 65-inch hobble." So anyway, to make a long story short, we cut all the leather off in between, and I just put what I did put in there is just the tire tubes, just so they could be as long as they want. They were like 65 inches long, and the head checks, the same thing with the head checks. You had to put 5 double snaps on it, so So anyway, one by one, and then what he did, the worst thing he did, was he took them to the blacksmith and he cut all their feet down. Now his horse is standing 16 hands high, and he's cutting these feet down to nothing, 3.5-inch toes, and it was unbelievable. So anyway, make a long story short, one by one, I straightened every one of them out. It took me probably 3 weeks, and I straightened all 10 horses out, and I qualified all 10 for him, and that was that.
And did it turn out good?
I ain't finished with the story yet. I get a call. I get a call one day at the barn. We all had barn phones at the barn, and it's Mr. Kutcher. So he says, "What are you doing for lunch today?" And I says, "Nothing. What do you need?" And he says, "I need you to have lunch with me." He says, "Come around 12:30." So I get there at 12:30 at Kutcher's hotel, and who's sitting there but the man in black, Larry Kadish. And I never met him up until that point, but I got every one of his horses qualified and they're already raced. So he says to me, "Now at PM, you know Larry Kadish, and what I'm telling you is the 100% truth, but almost word for word. And you know him, you with him, you can ask him if this is not the truth. And I want you to come back on next week and say that you spoke to him and everything I said is the truth. This is exactly what happened." So I go there for lunch, and Kadish is there with Milton Kutcher. He introduces me the first time I ever met him. And he says, Mr. Kadish would like to get into the racehorse business in a very big way. And he realized that he might have made a mistake in the trainer that he picked. And I says, "Well, I think he's wrong." I says, Ronnie's okay. He worked for me for a long time, and he's a good man. He's an honest man. And he says, "Well, he'd like you to take over the training of his horses, and to show his appreciation. There's 2 checks under your plate. One is for you, and one is to buy whatever you want to buy." And both checks were blank. It's just his signature on it. And I says, "Well, what's this?" So Katie says, "Make him out for whatever you want. Whatever you want. Make him out for $1 million, $2, whatever you want. Make it, one is for you and one is to buy whatever you want to buy." And I says, I can't take this. And this is what I'm going to tell you is the truth. And PM, this is the truth. And you ask Kadish and come back and tell everybody that Kadish should verify this. So I says, I can't take it. And he says, "Why not?" And then he gave me the lecture. He says, well, you'll never be a businessman. A businessman, you're supposed to take him, and I can make you a very rich man. And I says, I can't. I says, "You got to understand that this kid worked for me. This kid just had a baby. This kid is living in my house. I just bought him a trailer." I says, "This is the first shot he has in racing, which he loves. And you think that I'm going to take these horses away from him?" He says, "If you don't, I'm going to take him away and give him to somebody else." I says, "Well, then that's what you're going to have to do, because I'm not going to take him away." And he did. He took him away. He went through 5 drivers. Now, PM, listen to this, because I might have this wrong. He went through 5 or 6 different trainers, from Phil McGee to Henry Fillion to John Chapman to Paul Appel, and every before he'd switch trainers, he'd say, "Larry, will you please take these horses?" "No." And I'd say no every time. Finally, 4 or 5 years later, he calls me in Florida, and he says, "Listen, I come down to Florida every year." And he says, "I'd like to, would you take one horse so I can get a pass? I can go to the races, I can come to the barn and give me something to do." I says, "All right, send me." I says, "But I'm going to tell you something, Kadish," because I never called him Mr. Kadish. Everybody called him. I said, "I'm going to tell you something, Larry." I says, whoever sends me, they can send me the worst piece of shit. I just want you to know that. And that's okay. But when they send whatever horse they send, you're going to come to the barn and I'm going to show you what they sent me so you know. And sure enough, the first one that he sends, he was with Paul Appel at the time. And Paul Appel sends down a horse called, and I wish she was on here. I gave her, not to Trish, to D Macedonia. It was a horse called Adios Dewey. I'm almost Sunshine. If I'm saying something wrong and you remember, correct. I think the first horse was Dewey, something Dewey, and sour. Just had big osselets in front. Didn't even want to put his feet down. And I told D, I says, don't put a harness on this horse. Just walk him around every day in the grass for hours. In the afternoon, you have nothing else to do. Just take him around. And what Dee did was she used to take him down to the beach at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and walk him in the salt water in the ocean. And all of a sudden, he's getting better and better. And them legs from looking like softballs, they were coming down, the ankles and everything. And I called up a university and I says, what makes salt water so therapeutic? Why does it work? And I told her the story. And they says, we don't know. All we know with salt water is it has 87 or 78 trace minerals that do unbelievable work. And I even called up saltwater therapy places and they told me the same thing. So what I did was I sent my brother down with the pickup truck, filled 55-gallon drums, and I start tubbing them with salt water every day so she wouldn't have to go down there at 4 o'clock in the morning. And the horse won every race. He takes the horses away from Paul Appel. He says, I took them away from Paul Appel. Now you have to. I says, I'm not taking them, Larry. Now, PM, just keep listening because this is the truth. I says, I'm not taking them. So he gives them to John Chapman. But he left that one horse with me. And he gives them to John Chapman, and he calls me up about 2-3 months later, and he says, Larry, he says, I'm in trouble. I have 60 horses with Chapman, and he just died, and his son don't want to take over the stable. So I just bought Sunshine Meadows. I built a big barn down there at stalls at the track, at 40 stalls at Sunshine Meadows. Me and Paul, me and Carl LaClaus were the first ones to buy a full barn at Sunshine Meadows. And I says, all right, send them all down. And he did. And that's the first time I start training for him. And I'll tell you, he gave me opportunities during them years that had I take one opportunity, one shot that he gave me, and he gave me probably 5 or 10, where I could have been a very, very, very wealthy guy right now. I never took advantage of one opportunity. I used to go with him, and he'll tell you this, every afternoon. He asked me to go with him to look for locations because he owned all the properties that the 2,600 Kmarts were on. And he says, if we find one, I'll make you my partner on this, on this piece of land. And what he would do is that he'd buy a big, monstrous piece of land, build a big development there, and then Kmart would put a store there. He'd build like a big shopping center and then build up all the houses, all the big community. He would give me half of that whole thing. But I just wouldn't take, even when he built the farm, PM, when he built the farm, he was building the house for me. And he was mad at me because I was building a house on the golf course in Inverary. And when I called him up that one day and I asked him I says, I need $200,000 or $300,000 for, a couple of weeks. He says, what for that piece of shit that you build? I'm building you a mansion on my farm and you're building that piece of shit down there. I says, Larry, you going to give me the money? He says, not for that house. And I got D. Simone. I shipped all his horses back to his farm. And he called me up, and then he said,
"I'm crazy, Larry. You were absolutely nuts."
He said, "Well, this is the truth. You ask."
I know it's the truth. That's why you're absolutely nuts, certified.
And he called me up, and he says, I have horses running down Hempstead Turnpike. What are you doing? And I told him, I says, Larry, you want me to be a fucking mutt? You send me a check every month. and in the memo column put $100,000 for the putt, and then I'll do whatever you say. But just leave me alone. I'm not living on your fucking farm. He says, I'm buying Roosevelt Raceway. We can have a dinner. Do whatever you want. I'm going to do whatever I want. And that's the relationship we had. And in fact, that I told that one story when I was living with Aura, the same girl that he knew, but I had broken off with her. Well, that was not really an affair. It was something else. But anyway, I met another girl. And in fact, it's the girl that I'm still with. It's been 45 years since 1980. And I brought her, I reserved a table at the racetrack. And I walked down with her. And I introduced him to Larry Kadish and his wife. And Kadish comes over to the table after we're seated at the next table. And he says, Larry, you got to move your table. My wife don't like it that she knows Aura and now you're with a different girl. And I says, Larry, if she don't like Aura, you're going to have to move your table because I'm staying right where I am. Now you ask him if that ain't true. And then the last thing that you could ask Larry Kadish, because we did leave on really good terms. After I gave all the horses to Billy O'Donnell. O'Donnell wound up, when he became a catch driver, gave them all to Teddy Wing. Teddy Wing kept him for 3 years. And then Kadish called me up and he says, I'm all done. I'm not buying no more. I spent $3 million a year on yearlings. I'm not doing it no more because you lost all your appeals and everything else. 2 years after that. Now you ask Kadish this. I called him up. I says, Kadish, I need a favor. He says, what do you need? I says, I need $300 million. He says, what do you need it for? And I told him. And he says, well, I just signed everything over to my 2 sons. He says, I'm retired. I'm traveling the world. I'm doing everything. He says, and I really think that this deal would be too big for them at this point in their career. I'm sorry. And that was it. That was the last time I spoke to him. So that's the story with Larry Kadish, PM. Okay, let's see. Sundance, Larry, was it the Kisco Kid? No, the Kisco Kid too. Yeah, that was another one.
Cisco Kid.
Cisco Kid. Yeah, very good. Okay, Sundance, Tom Mix. Okay, that's enough with the Cowboys. Yeah, Joe. Years ago there was a guy in the paddock with special wheels. I think his name was Steve. Was that a gimmick, or do you think it helped? Did you ever use him?
Yes.
You remember Steve Wheels, Joe?
Yeah.
You remember? He put the bearings into the tire.
He had a very special ball bearing.
Yeah.
That you could spin that wheel, and an hour later it would be still spinning.
Yes.
It was such a good rotation on the tire. Very smooth and just it would spin forever. It was like just kept on going, like centrifugal force. It was so balanced that it just kept on going.
Yeah, he used to take the bike and he used to put it up, and then he used to spin the regular tire and the other tire. And that thing would stop an hour later. That thing was still going.
Yeah.
He had special ball bearings. I think he had 10.
Yeah, they were like titanium ball bearings, and they had some kind of lubricant, and they were really good. I mean, yeah.
All right, Steve says I missed the Trotters too, Eddie. Yep. Okay, Michael. Jessica Pillard is calling 3 grade 1 races at Parks. Oh, so there is a girl calling races. Okay.
Yeah, the lady at Parks. She's the announcer.
Yeah, all right. I didn't know that.
You said that before. You said there was a lady announcing at Parks.
I said it?
Yeah. When the guy asked the question.
Yeah, you said, I think there's a lady at one of the Thoroughbred tracks.
Yeah, the small track.
Small tracks.
All right. If you say
throw those pills out.
Right now, if somebody says, I'll give you $1 million or your life, did you say that? I would say I did not say that. And
give me $1 million, then I'll tell you.
All right, Francis. That's my youngest daughter, Laura Ashley. She's beautiful. She is beautiful.
God bless you.
Send me some more pictures, Francis. The same way. Send me some pictures of you and your daughter. I'm going to send them to Joe, and then I'm going to give Joe you. I don't even know. I don't think I have your phone number, but if you want to send me your phone number, I'll give it to Joe.
The matchmaker. Larry's the matchmaker.
That's it.
Well, let me tell you something. If I was 30 years younger, you'd never see that number. I'd keep it for myself.
Well, I mean.
Oh, she says, yes, I am a ZA artist. What's ZA mean? What's ZA mean? Francis, what does CA artist mean? I don't know what that means.
Commercial artist?
I don't know. Maybe that's what it means, commercial artist. But what does commercial artist mean? What's that? What do you do? Paint
she draws pictures. She draws pictures of, I guess, businesses and maybe horses, maybe buildings, maybe houses, or stuff like that.
Okay, Sundance says 7 inches from the back. That's right. I had a 7.
Yeah.
Everybody had a 7-inch 2x4. Okay, Francis. You are too good, Larry. Francis, send the pictures. Sundance, the spider trunks. I don't know what that means. Lulu, did you guys see those 4 horses that Noble had at Scioto on Saturday? That all won in 47 or better? No, I didn't see that.
Lulu, to Sir with love.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, Larry, you skipped my comment for Joe about Bible. Well, now I have to go back. Let me go back to that was Eric. Let me go back. I'm going to go back, Eric. For you, I'm going to go back. All right, here's one of Eric's. Larry, beauty is skin deep. No, that ain't it. Larry, Joe, exactly what? Oh, Joe. Larry, Joe, exactly right last week. The Bible says good works are like filthy rags. And the Greek word there for rags is woman's bloody. I don't know what that means.
You know what it means.
I don't. Now I know why I skipped it. I don't know what that stuff means, Eric. So stick to the horse stuff. Now you made me lose my place. Besides, let's see. Where the hell were we now? Okay, I think we were here because Francis says, you are too good, Larry. And Sundance says the spider trunks. What does that mean, the spider trunks? Lulu, did you see the guy? Okay, that's where we were. Eric, you skipped my comment. Yes, because I don't understand what that means. What the hell does that have to do with?
The Bible says that all men are sinners. They're like filthy rags, and I guess it's how he's interpreting a filthy rag. I don't know if the Bible meant in that way.
Eric, I just so you know, Eric, just so you know, I believe in God, but I never read the Bible.
I don't think it was anything bad, Larry.
It wasn't? All right. Well,
Well, not really. It could be interpreted that way.
Well, I don't read the Bible.
There was a woman in the Bible that had an issue.
If you want to ask a question, what size hobble you think horse should have, maybe I can answer. I can't respond to them questions because I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't want to. And because I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know if you're being sarcastic, if you're being nasty, if you're being okay. Joe says it's an okay question, So it's an okay question, but I don't know anything about that stuff. All I know, Eric, I spent my whole life with horses. That's all I know is horses. And I thought you'd be able, after 2 years of fucking up on this podcast, you'd figure that out by now. Anyway, Vic says, Long Ranger. Long Ranger. That's right, the Long Ranger, too. But he wore a white hat.
Tonto.
Okay, Eric. The best woman who takes care of you when you are sick and alongside of you in tough times. What city they are in is this that more of that Bible stuff? Is that what is that?
No.
What does that mean?
The woman who takes care of you when you are sick and is alongside of you in tough times. What city they're in is immaterial. In other words, a woman that stands by you through sickness and health and all the way. It doesn't matter where they are.
Okay.
They're good. They're good women,
All right. So I Sundance, I agree with you. But just keep in mind, my vocabulary is like 30 words, and you hit me with it's hard for me. Give me a break. 43 watching. That's good. Question. Eddie, as of 9/4/2025, look up jockeys in Oklahoma required to pay a per mount fee. Yeah, we heard that yesterday.
Yeah, $5.63. Yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable. I still haven't heard from Heisa yet. But no. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna read you something that I got here. Oh boy. This guy sent me this text this morning. And guy sent me a text this morning. Where the hell is it? He says to me, "Give me a good idea. I'm gonna do it, but I want to find it. Here it is. No, that ain't it. No, here it is. He says, Hi Larry, I just watched your show Tuesday night's podcast. That was an excellent letter. That was the letter that I read that I sent to Heisa. You might get some traction by contacting Bo Derek, the actress from the movie 10. She used to be on the California Horse Racing Board. She's now on the board of the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. I'm going to do that. I'm going to contact her because I know that she's a horse lover. Plus, she looks pretty good too.
And she could get in touch with what's her name from Heisa?
Yeah,
Lazarus.
But I'm going to tell you something. When I get done with Heisa, she's not going to want to get in touch with me because if they don't respond to me, I'm going to let my feelings be known.
Just give it a little time.
I'm going to let my feelings be known. That's why I'm just going to let my feelings be known. You're here to protect the horse. I'm telling you of a major problem that you know about, and you're not doing a fucking thing about it. And I'm going to and I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something right now. How many fucking times do you want to see this? I can't show a lot of it, but I'm going to show this. Where the hell is it now? Look at this. Look at this poor horse. This is what I witnessed 3 times in one day at Hialeah.
Número 7. Numero 7 na si Gain is having some issues as of the moment. Hindi natin alam kung ano nangyayari kay Gain.
How many times you want to watch that in one day and not do nothing about it?
Right.
Yeah.
That's exhaustion.
Okay. Let's see. Where the hell was I now? Okay, here I was. Okay, Francis, I'm pretty sure I work with Champion son. I guess that's Chapman's son in Toronto in the 80s. That has to be Chapman's son, right?
Yeah. Right.
Jake Chapman. I
I guess.
worked with Jake for years. He was a psycho. He blew up my brand new truck. Brand new.
Oh, see, now, Francis, you have something to talk about. Is Francis the one that's going to send me her phone number for you?
I hope so.
Okay. Send me the phone number, Francis, with some pictures.
I've seen enough. I'm
Francis, Francis, Toronto is so bad and dangerous. Now zombies hooked on fentanyl, homeless in tents
Oh,
in parks, looting in LCB stores with no consequences. Wow. Unbelievable. Francis, Eric, Gangland Territory, Rexdale. Okay, PM, Larry, what I found out about Mr. Kadish is he doesn't respect you when you give in to him. He loves an argument. He always wanted to see where your head was at and if you knew what you were talking about. Well, I can tell you that. He certainly knew where I was and we got along fine. And by the way, them horses that I shipped to him, after he sent me the 300,000, he shipped them right back. I took them back, but he gave me the money.
I remember when he put them in the Meadowland sale. I bought 3 or 4 of them out of there.
Okay, Eric, Joe was telling you last week that your good works or deeds mean nothing as far as you getting into heaven. Joe was correct when he said that. God doesn't reward works. Repentance is the key. God bless. Well, whatever it takes, I'm trying to do the right thing. I did. Let me. I'll put it to you this way. I'll put it to you this way. I don't read the Bible. I never read the Bible. As far as I'm concerned, God and Jesus didn't write the Bible. Other people wrote it. I do believe in that because that's how I was raised. I learned early on through experience that there were too many man-made rules and too much bullshit going on
in the Catholic Church.
In the Catholic Church, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. In the Catholic Church,
right?
Now I just live my life. I do whatever I have to do, and during the worst times in my life, I saved a lot of people and I helped a lot of people. I don't like to talk about it, but I helped a lot of people.
Larry, what Eric is saying is 100% true. And I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian a long time. I was a maniac when I was young. I still crazy in certain ways. But God says the only way to heaven is to repent and accept his son as your Lord and Savior. That's all it takes to get into heaven. It doesn't matter what good deeds you did, what you donated to the church, what you did. Those things all help. Those things are all great. But it's simple to get into heaven. It's his promise to us. If we accept Jesus, then we will be in heaven for eternity. And there's a heaven and there's a hell. And I truly believe that. And it's a simple thing he's asking. It's a matter of just saying that, forgive me for my sins. I accept your son as my Savior. And that is it. That's all he wants. And let me tell you something. I mean, there's so many things that proves it right. I'm into prophecy. I want things proven to me. And Christianity is the only religion that they can't find anything that's not true. Now, the Catholic Church, why I left the Catholic Church, was because they made up their own rules. But if you go to a Bible-based, and it's not a matter of even going to church. It's not, you don't have to go to church. It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's what it is. It's simple. God makes it simple for us. Believe me, and I can prove it to you so easily.
Well, regardless, I do the best I can.
But Larry, all you have to do is what I'm telling you. I'm sorry for my sins. I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins on the cross, and I accept him as my Lord and Savior. You say that, that's all you need to go to heaven. And no matter what you did, it's the truth. It's the way it is.
All right, Francis. Francis writes, respect Larry. Hyson needs a shake.
A milkshake?
Francis, little did he know our dads were friends. Little did he know our dads were friends. Who was your dad? Is this Francis? Is this the girl that's going to send me her phone number for you, Joe? This Francis? I keep getting them mixed up with Angelique.
Yeah, I hope she is.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one.
Francis, now you got to send me your phone number for me too, because I want to find out who your dad is. Little did he know, or maybe you don't even mean me. Little did he know our dads were friends. Little did who know?
You, Joe.
Maybe Joe, yeah. Maybe Joe.
I don't know. Verified. Francis, who are you talking to, me or Larry?
Yeah.
Not me.
Write it in the comments. We got to know now. Okay, PM Joe, did you ever use Gary Moshe? He retired from driving, and now he's a judge at Bangor, Maine's Raceway. His son was driving, but retired after a bad wreck.
Yeah, I used Gary. I knew Gary. I drove against him a lot, and yeah, he was a good guy. Good driver.
Yeah, I used them. I used them in the beginning. Gary Moshe. Then his brother, right? What was his brother's name?
Mark Moshe.
Mark, yeah.
Okay, let's go. Larry, Rocky Toscano was at Monticello for a long time, and he said your brother was some hard worker and an underrated horseman. Well, thank you, Rocky.
Rocky Toscano?
Yeah.
That's Andy's father.
Yeah. He's 90 years old.
Is he still alive?
Yeah. Matter of fact, somebody that I know, this woman, Gabriella, who works for this law firm, matter of fact, she reached out to me and told me Rocky Toscano and Andrew said hello.
I was very close to them. Andy drove for me a lot.
He's still doing the lobster boat or the fish, whatever the hell.
Yeah. He was Andy was a really good driver.
Yeah.
And Rocky was a good guy. I love talking to him. He was like he was a funny guy.
Yeah, when he was married to Linda, he could have been, I guess, I don't know, could have been set in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well,
things happen, I guess.
Things happen. But Andy was a really good guy, and he won a lot of races for me.
Yeah, he's a nice kid. He was
really good. And he was a good starter, too. He was the starter for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead there, Lauren.
Hello, Rocky and Andy.
Yeah, God bless.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric. Amen, Joe. Amen. I think Frances is in Canada. If Frances is in Canada, I think I spoke to Frances. I think I spoke to her. And I think I know her family history, I think. Let me look at my phone right now to see if let's see, Frances. Let me see if I have her. Frances. Yeah, I have her number here. I got it. I got her number.
Is it in Canada?
Yeah, I got her down as Frances from the podcast from Canada, and I think I spoke to her once or twice. Yep, and I think, I think,
What kind of luck do I got?
yeah. But I have a number. So Francis, is it all right if I'm going to give it to Joe? So
Joe, you got to move your ice cream stand to Canada.
Eddie, you have to be getting ready to take a few horses soon.
What?
He says Eddie, you have to be getting ready to take a few horses soon.
I hope so.
You don't want, how many more horses do you want? How many horses you got now?
6.
You're going to claim one for 50, whatever. You're going to get one for Manny. So
Yeah.
you're going to have 9 or 10. That's
Yeah. Well, 10 is perfect. Yeah. I had 9 all year last year. You know.
That's a good number. You could work with that.
Oh no, it's okay. You know what it is, Joe? It's not hard work. Put it that way. It's long hours, yes, but you got to have competent help. There's no help. You got really bad help. You know, they're not grooms. They're not like we used to have in Roosevelt and Yonkers.
There was a lot of good grooms, man. A lot of dedicated, good people.
Remember Otis? Otis, the groom.
Yeah, of course.
He worked for me for a long time.
Yep.
And remember the guy that worked for Frank Muley? What the hell was his name?
Pete.
Then Big Lee.
Yeah, all those guys were good.
Power Glide.
Huh?
Power Glide, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Power Glide. Power Glide was a trip.
Remember Radar?
Radar, sure. He was some pool player, Radar.
Yeah, they were all brothers, but they were grooms. They carried that rub rag, that burlap bag.
They were true grooms.
You ever see Power Glide get dressed up, go out?
Yeah, Power Glide used to be like a pimp. He used to wear the hat.
Power Glide. He
was a funny
brim
guy.
on. I really liked the guy in the paddock. What was his name?
Where at?
At Yonkers. What's his name?
Freddie Carbonero?
No, the Jamaican.
Oh, no, Noel.
Noel, yeah.
He was a trip. He was the Rastafarian.
Yeah.
He was a nice man.
We used to go to breakfast every night across the street.
He was such a gentleman.
Yeah.
He says he goes fishing with Rocky all the time.
Really? Tell him I said hello.
Me too.
I love those guys.
Gary D. Answer. I read on Facebook Walter Case gave thanks to everyone and he's feeling much better. Yes, we know.
Good.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, Francis, repeat. I worked with Chapman's son in Toronto, collections all over Canada and the States. Our dads were great friends. Beautiful horses, too.
Oh, are you talking about Jake Chapman?
She don't even have Chapman down. She has Champman. So I guess
Chapman. So maybe it's
I don't know.
I know. They lived in Buffalo, so it's near Canada.
Maybe James Champion.
I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know.
Joe, I live up by Poughkeepsie. Andy Toscano is only 10 minutes from my house. He retired after driving the car at Yonkers for 12 years.
Right. Make sure you tell him I said hello and send him my best, him and his father.
Yeah, tell him I said hello, too.
Me too.
They were good guys, really good guys.
What about Cliff, who used to clean the cars?
Yeah, Cliff.
Oh, yeah, Cliff, yeah.
He was a security guard at Roosevelt Raceway.
Security guard, yeah.
Yep.
Always wanted to be a groom.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, you could be a groom with Eddie. And maybe if you want to be a groom, maybe Joe will get back into business and buy 3 horses. You can groom them.
Yeah, he's got a stable at Pompano.
Pompano's closed. Imagine they closed Pompano too.
What a joke.
Michael, Bo is still a huge advocate for horses' rights, and she still looks good, pretty good. Maybe not a 10, maybe a 7. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know that she's still involved, because you could bet that by tomorrow I will be speaking with her, or I'll have a number. I'll have somebody down there reach her. I got to find out. I'm going to look up Delmar. Then I'll find out where she lives. There's some people I can call down there. And if I find out where she lives and I talk to her, I'll fly down there. Because all I need is her. I'll fly down there. But maybe Lisa from HISA will call me. Who knows?
She should. Being a businesswoman, professional, she should give you the courtesy of a call.
In the position that she's in, and 70, 80 people working for her, with people taking the messages, and when she gets this letter, and this girl promised me that she would give it to her the next morning, she's supposed to return every call from every horseman, even a groom. She's supposed to return every single call. And if she don't return my call, if I don't hear from her within a week, I'm going to say a lot of things that are on my mind, and she's not going to be very happy. And I hate to say that, because now she's thinking it's a threat and everything else. But if you have a government, the United States government forms a special organization to look after the welfare of the horse, and somebody tells you about a problem and then proves it, how do you not make a phone call? How do you not meet with that person?
You should get the courtesy of a call.
Right. Okay.
Francis says Jake Chapman, yeah.
Jake Chapman.
Larry, I just read an article that 18 horses were euthanized this summer up in Saratoga.
How many?
18.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else, and I put it in the letter. There is no data at all in any country in the world, including the United States, where they keep track of how many horses die of heart attacks. It's all listed. Some of them like this outfit right here. See this outfit here?
No.
Horse racing wrongs. When we're done with this, Google horse racing wrongs. They have all the statistics from each trainer, from every state, how many horses they have, how many died in each state. It's unbelievable. And they tell you that half of them are not. Some of the states won't tell them, and they get no information from any horses that die at training centers and or in the mornings when they're training, and that's when the humidity and the heat is the high humidity in the mornings and highest temperatures in the mornings, and they don't even get it. But look up this organization. It's scary. Horse racing wrongs. It's scary, the information they have. But they have no data on that. You can call the jockey club tomorrow and say, you have any data on how many horses die of heart attacks? And they're all listed as undetermined, unexplained, sudden deaths. It's just unbelievable. But it don't make any difference, because even if they did, you know why they probably don't? Because there's no fix for that. There's no fix for that until me. There's no fix for it. And that's why I wish a veterinarian would come on here. I really do. I really wish a veterinarian would come on, because I have data from books. There must be 30 books. And I really should have sent away for all of these books, but some of them are, some of them are kind of expensive, but it's about 30 books where all of this data is in that I got all this information from, and it's quite shocking. Okay. Let's see. Eric, miracle. We went entire show without mentioning Manny. I pray to God he sees the light and stops and stops those cigars. No, he likes the cigars. People like cigars. Right up the street from me, there's a cigar club. It's a big front store, big with beautiful couches outside, and there's probably 20, 30 guys every day, even in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning, they're out there smoking these big cigars.
Cigar lounge.
Yeah, they just like cigars. I just
Cigar bar.
Yeah, they love cigars. Okay, Sundance, Eddie. If I drove, I would come help you. Yeah, she would. Sundance would, but she can't. She can't. She don't drive. She don't have a car. She don't drive, and she's not in good shape.
She's in Jersey too, right?
Yeah. She's a really good kid.
Well, if I stable in Monmouth, is that closer?
No, she can't. She can't do it, Eddie.
No, I know. Her knees are bad as mine, or worse, probably.
We need Francis. We need Francis to move to the States or Florida. Florida would be a good place.
Yeah, and sell ice cream part-time.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? We have no more. That's it. I skipped
Comments, and it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good time for you
10
to go.
o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that, Eddie?
Yeah.
The news.
We did it 2 hours already.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, at least we had conversation. We talked, and we weren't yelling, and you didn't go on a ramp. You know, you're good. Everything's calm.
We kept you in check tonight, Larry.
Very good. It was a good podcast. It was mellow. We got a lot of things accomplished and talked about families and religion and health, and we're all good.
Let's not disappoint Eric. Did you hear about Manny's license? Does everything go through with that?
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't think that you could. I couldn't get a trainer's license until I owned a horse.
No. He didn't get no trainer's license. He got an owner's license. What they have, Larry, when you're a first time horse owner and you apply, you get an open claim license.
Okay.
Okay. You are eligible to claim within a 30-day rule. So every time we go in for a horse, we have to mark it down if we get out shook. And at the end of the 30 days, if we haven't got a horse yet, they would give you an extension. That's what that is.
I know I did, but maybe you didn't hear it. Did I tell you the story about the first thoroughbred I trained under my name? When I finally got a license, a thoroughbred license. For years, I went under Alan Sewell's name. But the first one I got for myself, did I tell you that story?
No.
Let me tell you the story real quick. And then that'll be the end of the show. When I was barred for life, I made certain moves and everything else, and I got Vinnie Hogan was able to get me my license in New York State because the commissioner Herman Klug was his second in command when they were detectives with the New York Police Department. So they asked him to be the the racing commissioner. He didn't want it because he lived out in Long Island. But he asked for Herman to be it, and he was the second in command. So they made him the thing. Now Vinnie Hogan was my childhood friend. We grew up together. He was my next door neighbor. We grew up together until I was like 16 when I left. I was left home. So I'll make this real short. So anyway, they make him head of mutuals and head of security and mutuals at Saratoga, Belmont, and Aqueduct Racetrack. So I'm in California. He calls me up. He met my sister, calls me up, and he says, "Come here, come and see me." So I go to see him, and he picks up the phone to Kluge, and he says, if a guy hasn't been licensed in, say, 10 years, whatever, does he need a renewal or a new whole application? He said, who's it for? He says, Larry Rolla. And he says, do you have a guy? You can't give this guy a license? And Vinny, who was my childhood friend, says, just send the fucking application. And that's how I got my license.
This is Kluge?
I think it was Herman Kluge. I don't know. You mentioned Kluge. and I think it was him. I have no idea. Whoever was the
investigator.
No, whoever was the police, whoever was the racing commissioner at that time.
Yeah,
maybe
commission investigator, the head guy.
I don't know who it was. You say Kluge, so I say Kluge. I don't remember. All I remember.
I think it was Kluge. I know it was Zuccarelli or something at the Meadowlands.
So Zarelli, the Italian guy, was the one that grabbed by the tie and broke his nose. That was the Italian guy. I don't remember. Anyway, so now I says, listen, Vinny, as long as you get me, you have this connection here, and I don't have to go for a hearing. The hearing was bullshit. I was going to have a hearing. They weren't going to ask me any questions, and they were going to give me. I said I want a thoroughbred license too. So now I got both licenses. So now Vinny's at Aqueduct. So Vinny says, okay, you got your license. You want to get a horse or two? I says, no, I just want a trainer's license. So he gets me the applications, and then I find out that to get a trainer's license, you have to either train a horse or own a horse. So I says, well, I don't have any horses. So he says, there's a friend of mine upstairs that had a horse last year. He got in a bad wreck. He fell down. They wheeled him off, and he's on a farm retired. He says, maybe he'll just sell you the ownership papers, and it proves that you own a horse. They don't know that he'll never race again. Yeah. So I bought the papers for $500. So he gives me the papers. I take the test, and I pass the test. And about 2 months later, I get a phone call. Vinny says, you got a message here. And it's where this farm was. I forgot all about the horse. The farm, the guy told him, I don't own the horse no more. You have to bill Larry Rolla. He's at, I don't know his address. He's at Aqueduct. And I was at, anyway, I go pay the bill, and I got to get the horse out of there. So I bring him the Gateway. I bring him to Gateway Farms. And now I'm looking at him, and he hadn't raced in over a year. His last start, he fell, and they vanned him off. And I'm looking at him, and I'm examining, and he's busted up pretty good. Got a bunch of problems. But I start swimming him, and I start working on him. I start swimming. Then I put him in the equicizer. Then I start jogging him. In fact, what the hell was his name? The other trainer down there helped me break him to a jog cart, and I was jogging him. Fern Paquette. Mm-hmm. And we broke him to a jog cart, and I started jogging him every day, swim him in the pool, and put him in the equicizer. Anyway, I call up Vinny after about a month. I says, Vinny, will they let me race this horse there? I says, because he was vanned off, He says, I don't know, I'll find out. So he calls me back. He says, if he passes the vet, they'll let you race. So now I'm at Gateway, and I keep shipping them up to Gulfstream. Monmouth Park, where Alan was, and I'm working this horse and working. And now I'm broke. I have no money. So I says now he's beating Alan's good horses, and he's really good. And every time we go to work him, I ship him up there. In the meantime, I'm jogging him every day, going slow trips. But every couple of weeks, I'd ship him up to Monmouth, and we'd work him. And Alan says, "The hell you waiting for? This horse he's really good." So I enter him to race. I put him in the 10,000 claimer, and Alan tells me the jockey to put down. So I call in the entry. I put down this jockey he told me to put down. I forgot who it was. Anyway, I get there in the morning. I ship in early. The vet comes to the barn, and he passes the horse. And Vinny knew the vet, and Vinny come to the barn with the vet. The vet says, "This guy did an unbelievable job. I can't believe this is the same horse." And anyway, he passed him. Now, I find out that the program comes out, and I find out that this kid, Dennis Carr, who was riding him. And that's not the guy I put down. So, but I didn't say nothing. So, but I told Vinny. Vinny says, "I thought you were going to use that." So the guy says, "Well, I know they took him off." So Vinny finds out that the other guy took himself off. took himself off the horse, and the judges couldn't get a hold of me. They didn't know where I was, so they put Dennis Carr down. So now we're in the paddock, and I recognize my colors, and Dennis Carr comes walking, looking for me, and I see my colors. I walk over, and I says, Dennis Carr, Larry Rolla. He don't even shake my hand. He just has his hands crossed in front of him. He says, what are you doing with this horse? You know he was Vandorf last year? I said, let me tell you something. Right away, that got me. I was hoping that he was 7 feet tall at the time, so I could have just smacked him. So he says to me, I says, let me tell you something. I was training these things before you were born. I says, and I would never, ever put a horse into race that wasn't fit, that wasn't ready, that wasn't sound, and that was dangerous. I would never put you in jeopardy, or the horse or anybody else. I says, he'll win. He'll win by open lens. So he don't say a word. Now it's time to saddle, and he just steps a step back, and he just stands there like this. So now I leg him up. He gets on the horse. He goes on the track, and in the same race, Angel Cordero, he was a trainer. In fact, it was the last horse he trained. He was a trainer. He stopped being a jockey. He was training horses. He claimed the horse a couple of weeks before for $30,000. And he put him in this race. 3 weeks later, he puts him in my race in a 10-claimer. And his horse is like 1 to 5. My horse is like 100 to 1. I made a bet with Tommy Smash, wise guy. I says, bet 2,000 to win for me. If the horse loses, I'll give you the horse for free. He puts up the 2,000. And now I go upstairs. I'm sitting with Tommy. The race goes off, and he leaves the gate, standing straight up in the stirrups. The horse got his head up. He's holding straight back. He's holding him back. Horse's head is in the air. Now he's 10 lengths off the last horse. Cordero's horse is 1 to 5. He's 10 lengths in front of the second horse. So now there's like 40 lengths between me and him. Now, and it's a 6-furlong race. Halfway down the backstretch there, he starts catching. By the time they hit the turn, the beginning of the turn, he caught the last horse. He caught the pack. But Cordero's horse, 1 to 5, he's 10 lengths in front. He catches the pack. He goes 3 wide, 4 wide. But during that stretch, during that backstretch run, he tested to it, made sure he was sound. And when he saw he was sound, because you tell, he started off slow, and then when he realized the horse was okay, he let him go. He circles the field. Now at the head of the stretch, he's second, and Cordero is 10 in front. I got beat a lip right after the wire he went by. So after the race, that's where you go to pick up the horse, and he says, "You were right." He says, "We'll get him next week. You were right." And I didn't say a word. I just wanted to smack him so bad, and I had to give the horse to Tommy. I lost the horse.
Jesus.
That was my first horse. Anyway,
you made some bad deals there.
What was I going to do? I wanted to bet on the horse. He couldn't lose. I think he went off at probably 10, 15 to 1. He couldn't lose. And that was probably because Tommy not only bet for me, I'm sure he bet for himself. He probably bet 4,000 or 5,000 on him. And he was part of that gang and, Tough Tony's crew. So anyway,
you didn't throw a saver in an exacta box.
Right, you sound like my mother when the time I was going to win on Chester Direct. That's trying to park me.
All right, fellas, I gotta go to bed because you killed me last night. 3 hours, I was exhausted.
Okay, wait 1 second, then we're gonna hang up.
Comments.
All right. Well, the reason Let's see. Sundance, text Larry to read my last comment. Hope you feel better. We got to go. Here's Eric. Larry, you remind me of my dad. He loved animals so much, but he had a short fuse like you. I learned every curse word by the time I was 10. God bless you always. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Eric. And then he says, I only refer to Manny because he gets your blood pressure up so much. Notice he didn't come on tonight. He must be mad at me again. All right, that's it. That's it. Oh, one more down here. Michael, call the Delmar Thoroughbred Club. They will give you Bo's number. I will do that, Michael. Thank you. Okay, thanks, guys, for coming on.
All right, Larry. I'll see you Tuesday.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Good night, Joe. How's your dad, Joe?
Doing well. Thank you.
All right. All right. God bless. I've been praying.
All right. Thank you, Eddie.
All right, buddy. Larry, take care. I'll speak to you.
Okay, good night.
Good night, buddy.
Good night, Joe. Okay, folks. I'll see you, I think tomorrow. I think Freddie wants to come on tomorrow, but I'm not sure. So I'll let you know. I'll post it, whatever. Anyway, good night. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you.